The room goes quiet when her description is passed down the table in Lyon. Klaus Barbie, Gestapo chief of Lyon and head of the SS in occupied France, is not a man who frightens easily. He has broken agents before. He has broken entire networks before. But there is one name that makes even Barbie drop his voice. A wanted poster has been circulating through every German checkpoint in southern France. The woman is described as having red hair, an American accent, and a pronounced limp. She walks like something is wrong with her left leg, because something is. She has been operating in Lyon for over a year. She has been moving weapons, smuggling airmen, building networks, and making German soldiers vanish into the French underground. His agents have set traps. She hasn't fallen into one. His informants have looked for her. They find walls of silence. Barbie reportedly slams the table and says, with fury, "I would give anything to get my hands on that limping Canadian bitch." He doesn't know she's American. He doesn't know her name. The French people who shelter her don't call her dangerous. They call her something else entirely. They call her the angel who limps. And the Germans who come looking for her tend not to come back. Her real name is Virginia Hall. She is born on April 6, 1906, in Baltimore, Maryland. Her father, Edwin Hall, is a successful businessman with a cinema empire. Her mother, Barbara, is his secretary and his partner. Virginia grows up in a home that expects greatness. She is athletic, fast-witted, and fiercely independent. Her high school classmates at Roland Park Country School vote her the most original in the class. After graduating, she studies at Barnard College and Radcliffe College, Harvard's women's school. She learns French, German, and Italian. She studies further in Paris, Vienna, and across Europe. She becomes the kind of woman who moves through the world with complete ease and total hunger for more. She applies to the US Foreign Service. She wants to be a diplomat. The rejection letter is short. Women are not hired. She refuses to be told no. She takes a backdoor path, a consular clerk posting at the US Embassy in Warsaw, then a transfer to the American consulate in Smyrna in Turkey. She is not yet extraordinary. She is just a woman who cannot be stopped. Turkey, 1933. Virginia is 27 years old. She is out hunting birds with American friends near Smyrna. She stumbles while climbing a wire fence. Her shotgun discharges. The blast tears through her left foot. The wound turns gangrenous in the days that follow. Surgeons amputate her left leg below the knee. She is given a wooden prosthetic. She names it Cuthbert, with the dry humor of someone who has decided to keep going. She returns to her desk within weeks. She applies again to the US Foreign Service. This time, the rejection letter cites an obscure State Department rule: amputees cannot become diplomats. She writes a personal appeal directly to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He does not respond. In March 1939, at 32 years old, she resigns from the State Department. She has been rejected twice by the country she wanted to serve, once for being a woman, once for missing half a leg. She goes back to France. She has nowhere else to aim herself. In early 1940, she joins the French army as a volunteer ambulance driver. The fall of France comes 6 weeks after Germany invades. Paris falls on June 14, 1940. Virginia Hall has to run. She ends up in London. And then, at a cocktail party, a stranger places a business card in her hand. The woman says, "If you're truly interested in stopping Hitler, come and see me." The stranger is connected to Nicholas Boddington of the Special Operations Executive. Winston Churchill's covert army, created with a single instruction, set Europe ablaze. Virginia Hall joins the SOE in April 1941. She is the first female SOE agent to take up long-term residence in France. She arrives in Vichy, France on August 23, 1941. Her cover identity is an American journalist working for the New York Post. This gives her license to move, ask questions, and file stories packed with coded intelligence. She bases herself in Lyon. She chooses Lyon deliberately. It is the second city of France, a tangle of ancient streets called traboules that thread through buildings and open into hidden courtyards. It is the beating heart of the French resistance. It is also crawling with Gestapo. Hall works the city with extraordinary skill. She founds the Heckler Network, her own circuit of agents. She recruits Germain Guerin, the owner of a prominent brothel in Lyon. Guerin's establishment is an intelligence goldmine. German officers talk, her employees listen. Guerin provides safe houses for Hall's agents, no questions asked. Hall also recruits Dr. Jean Rousset, a gynecologist. She builds a network of couriers, informants, radio operators, and sympathetic civilians. She develops a system of coded signals. A geranium pot in a window means a pickup is ready. A loose brick in a cafe wall hides a message. A bartender slides a glass across the counter with a note stuck to the bottom. Within months, Hall is running the most effective Allied intelligence operation in all of southern France. She is 35 years old and moving through an occupied country with a wooden leg, a fake name, and no backup. The French begin calling her something specific. They call her La Dame qui boite, the limping lady. It is not a romantic nickname, it is an observation. Her limp is visible. Her gait is distinctive. In a world where every detail can get you killed, the limp is a liability she cannot shed. But it becomes something else too. Downed Allied pilots scattered across France learn a single instruction from their resistance contacts: get to Lyon, go to the American consulate, and say you are a friend of Olivier. Olivier is Virginia Hall. She feeds the pilots, hides them in safe houses, and moves them south through a chain of contacts all the way to Spain and back to England. She does this for dozens of airmen. Each one returns to base. Each one flies again. To the men she rescues, she is not a liability. She is a miracle. She is the Limping Angel they were told to find. And she is building something the Gestapo cannot yet see. A shadow army buried inside the bones of occupied France. In October 1941, Hall's instincts prove sharper than any intelligence. She receives word of a meeting of SOE agents in Marseille. Something about the message unsettles her. She declines to attend. The French police raid the meeting. 12 SOE agents are arrested and shipped to Mauzac prison near Bergerac in the Dordogne. Hall, who has just avoided capture, is now one of the only free and operational SOE agents in all of southern France. She does not treat this as survival. She treats it as a mission. She recruits Gaby Bloch, whose husband Jean-Pierre Bloch is among the Mauzac prisoners. Bloch visits the prison regularly, bringing food parcels. Inside the parcels, hidden in tins of sardines, are tools. Inside the prison, SOE wireless operator Georges Béguet uses those tools to fashion a key to the barracks door. Hall, too well known now to set foot near the prison herself, assembles the escape infrastructure from the outside: safe houses, vehicles, guides, routes. She also smuggles a radio into the prison through a priest, and Béguet begins transmitting to London from inside the walls. On July 15, 1942, the 12 prisoners escape. They hide in the surrounding forest during an intense manhunt. They reach Hall in Lyon by August 11. She smuggles every one of them to Spain and then back to England. SOE historian M.R.D. Foote calls it one of the war's most useful operations of its kind. Several of the escapees returned to France within months, leading their own resistance networks. The Germans cannot ignore this anymore. The Mauzac jailbreak is a public humiliation. The Gestapo floods Vichy France with 500 new agents. The Abwehr, German military intelligence, accelerates its operations to destroy SOE circuits and the French resistance. Lyon becomes the center of the storm. Barbie's men distribute wanted posters across the city. The limping lady. Red hair. American accent. Dangerous. The poster offers no name because the Gestapo still doesn't have one. Hall's police contacts in Lyon, once a source of protection, are now under German pressure and becoming unreliable. Then comes a betrayal from inside. In August 1942, a man named Robert Alesh makes contact with Hall. He presents himself as a Catholic priest and an agent of the Glorian Network, a Paris-based resistance movement. He brings what looks like high-value intelligence. Hall has private doubts about Alesh, but London headquarters endorses him. Against her better judgment, she allows limited access. Alesh is an Abwehr informant. He systematically maps Hall's network of contacts. Wireless operators are arrested. False messages are sent to London using her agent's call signs. The heckler network begins to unravel from within. On November 7, 1942, the American consulate in Lyon warns Hall that an Allied invasion of North Africa is hours away. The following day, German forces flood across the demarcation line and occupy all of Vichy France. Hall has perhaps hours. She tells no one. She boards a train to Perpignan and walks to the Spanish border. November in the Pyrenees is merciless. The mountain pass she must cross sits at 7,500 feet above sea level. Snow fills the trail. The wind off the Atlantic cuts through every layer of clothing. Her wooden prosthetic grinds against the stump of her leg with every upward step. The guide she has hired initially refused to take her. She is a woman and she walks with a limp. She refuses to accept this and they relent. Over 2 days, she covers close to 50 miles through terrain that would exhaust a trained soldier. From a rest stop in the mountains, she radios London to report she is making progress. She adds a dry note that Cuthbert is giving her trouble. London, which has no idea Cuthbert is her leg, sends back a brisk reply. If Cuthbert is troublesome, eliminate him. She reads the message. She keeps walking. She reaches Spain. She is immediately arrested by Spanish border authorities for illegal crossing. The American embassy negotiates her release. By July 1943, she is back in London, quietly awarded an honorary membership in the Order of the British Empire. SOE refuses to send her back into France. She is too well known, they say, too compromised. She walks out of the SOE and into the offices of the American Office of Strategic Services. The OSS gives her a second chance. They give her the code name Diane. They give her forged papers in the name Marcel Montaigne. And on March 24, 1944, they put her on a British torpedo gunboat and land her on the coast of Brittany, east of Roscoff at Beggan-Fry. She cannot parachute. Her prosthetic makes it impossible, so the boat will have to do. She steps off that boat into occupied France, the country that has a price on her head, with 500,000 francs in her coat and a plan she has been building for months. She disguises herself as a 60-year-old peasant woman. Her hair is dyed grey. Her healthy teeth are filed down to look worn and broken. She wraps herself in rough country clothes. She refashions her limp into the slow, arthritic shuffle of an old French farm woman. On at least one occasion, she sells homemade cheese to a group of German soldiers at a rural market. They buy it. They thank her. The most wanted spy in France pockets the money and shuffles away. By July 1944, she is ordered to Haute-Loire, the volcanic plateau region of south-central France. She arrives there on July 14, Bastille Day. She sets up her headquarters in a barn near the village of Le Chambon-sur-Lignon. 3 battalions of maquisards are operating in her area, approximately 1,500 men in total. They are poorly armed, divided by ego, and led by self-appointed colonels who resist taking orders from a woman. Hall solves this problem with blunt efficiency. She controls the weapons drops. She controls the money. They will listen to her, or they will get nothing. She secures 3 plane loads of supplies from England. She trains her fighters, directs their operations, and coordinates their attacks. Rail lines are cut. Full bridges are destroyed. German convoys are ambushed in the mountains. The German garrison at Le Puy-en-Velay, the departmental capital, is ground down, cut off, and finally forced to withdraw north with the rest of the retreating German forces. When the American army advances into Haute-Loire in September 1944, they find no German soldiers waiting. The department has already been cleared. Virginia Hall and 1,500 French fighters cleared it. Her OSS activity report confirms 150 Germans killed, 500 captured, and an entire department liberated before a single American soldier set foot in it. What the Gestapo never understood was that her greatest weapon was the leg they thought would betray her. Every wanted poster described her by the way she walked. Every checkpoint guard was told to look for the limping woman. She survived by hiding the limp inside a disguise, by converting her most visible liability into camouflage. Beyond the disguise, what kept her free was something the enemy never possessed: patience. She missed the Marseille meeting in October 1941 because something felt wrong. She had doubts about Robert Alesh from the beginning. And she was right. She changed her identity constantly. She was Marie of Lyon to the resistance fighters who loved her. She was Diane to the OSS. She was Marcel Montagnier on forged papers. She was a grey-haired old woman selling cheese in country markets. She never trusted anyone who hadn't first proven themselves. She never stayed in one place long enough to become predictable. 500 Gestapo agents were deployed against her, and not one of them ever put handcuffs on her wrists. The limping lady was not uncatchable by accident. She was uncatchable by design. In September 1945, General William J. Donovan, director of the OSS, presents Virginia Hall with the Distinguished Service Cross, one of the highest military honors the United States can award. She is the only civilian woman in the entire Second World War to receive it. President Truman personally wants to present the medal at a public ceremony. Hall refuses. She says she is still operational and most anxious to get busy. She joins the Central Intelligence Agency in 1947 as one of its first female officers. The CIA passes her over for promotion for nearly 2 decades. She retires in 1966 at the mandatory age of 60. She never writes a memoir. She grants no interviews. She speaks almost nothing of what she did, even to her own family. She dies on July 8, 1982, in Rockville, Maryland, at 76 years old. She is buried at Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland. Today, a CIA field agent training facility bears her name, the Virginia Hall Expeditionary Center. Her portrait hangs in the CIA Museum beside 4 men who went on to lead the entire agency. Klaus Barbie, the man who raged for her name, was eventually captured, tried in Lyon in 1987, and convicted of crimes against humanity. He died in prison in 1991. Virginia Hall, the woman he could never find, outlived him and outlasted everything the Reich threw at her. The Limping Angel was never caught. She just kept walking.